How about now? Do we have sound?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. I guess I could probably just start the whole thing over again, huh? All right, you have sound ready now? Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So sorry about that. I talked for I don't know how long before so they told me that you guys weren't hearing what I was saying. So you weren't getting what I was putting down. So let me go back to the beginning and I'll start over. So welcome to the live show of the podcast recording. Again, I apologize for almost 15 minutes of this without sound as we're trying to make sure that you hear everything that I'm talking about. So we're talking about launch, grow, and monetize the art of podcasting. And so one of the things that I began to talk about earlier is why would you want to do a podcast? What are the reasons that a podcast would be important for you to want to do? As you start thinking through, is this a medium that I'd want to do? Because what if I don't look the right way or I don't sound the right way? I know I've heard several people who said that have very successful podcasts that it took me 20 than they are in how you look or how you sound. One of the things that is weird about the way we sound, it's not that you don't like the way you sound, it's that you sound different than you thought you've been sounding your whole life. Because inside of your head and the noise comes out and your ears hear, you're hearing from an internal perspective of what you are hearing and that you believe you sound like. When the reality is you sound like what everybody else hears you've been speaking your whole entire life. That's what you sound like. And so that hasn't changed. It just changes now. When you hear it back, you're like, I don't sound like that, because that's what you believe that you hear in your head. And so we'll help you. There's some things and tricks and tips that we can do to help you get over what that means. But the goal here is that why would I want to make sure that the things that I'm saying are able? And so there's a way, I have 31 reasons why somebody would have a podcast, and I'll send you that document. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Document, we'll send you that document. If you put both documents in the chat, I'm going to send you the 21 ways that you can monetize your podcast. So you'll have both of those documents. I wanted to tell you about that up front. Today, I'm just going to do this up quickly in 45 minutes because I already used up 15 minutes of your time if you stuck around. And we want to make sure that, in that 45 minutes that I give you enough that would say, hey, I think I want to try this. And at the end of the show, I'm going to tell you that, hey, there is a podcasting challenge that I'm doing on the 23rd of this month. It's a 5-day challenge that will get you even more depth if there's something that you wanted to. So I'll talk about that at the end of this web class. And so what's kind of so cool is if you're on this and you're thinking about it, you might be thinking maybe a podcast is for me. I don't know. I always thought it would be good. I just don't know how. And there's some things that people think through that they believe, well, unless I can get them, I don't have any followers right now. There's not one person following me on any social media. So why would they come onto my podcast? Well, because you're going to be interesting. You're going to be interested more than you're going to be interesting. I don't want you to concentrate on being interesting. I want you to concentrate on being interested. And when you can be interested, then you know what people are wanting to know. Let's say that you want to plant flowers and they never grow, and or plants, and you're not a green thumb. What if you found the person on YouTube that was teaching you how to put the right mixture of nutrients and whatever else goes into potting soil that makes plants thrive on the carbon monoxide that goes out into the air? And where do you set it? And, I even found out something the other day about snake plants. They say snake plants can grow at night and they can help you filter the air within your room. So why doesn't everybody have a snake plant in their room right now? Because they don't know, because maybe you're the one who should be teaching people this is something that's important. Because the content that you have in your mind, the things that God is giving you, are things that you probably should share with the world. The overarching theme of the things that I do is helping people, are designing and making it so that people can become the person that they were meant to be. And when you can live in that space, the whole world changes. And so maybe just doing a podcast is setting you up so that you can become that person. When I first started out doing, podcasting, it was all about how do I get leads? I don't know how to get leads. This is a great way to get leads. But then I've grown into a whole bunch of other things that are more than just getting leads, or more, what about the people that I get to affect that are going to Alabama, or the people that are doing a whole bunch of stuff all over the world that now I get to talk to? What about the Journey to Freedom podcast that I put together that is helping men of color get unstuck? What about the Living Boldly with Purpose podcast that highlights people who are successful in living in their purpose and what that looks like? These are all things that I was able to do, that I started thinking about. What about you? What are you able to do? What is your specialty? I was just talking to a young lady the other day, and she's an incredible grant writer. And the things that she's able to do with grants and be able to get funded. And how many people do we know that are in nonprofits that don't know how to write grants, that don't know how to make sure that that the money that they're going after comes to them? What a great podcast that would be. There's so many, things that it helps you. It helps you communicate better. What if I have a poor relationship with the people that are in my life, and I keep, being in a way that kind of is standoffish, and I want to get better at communicating? Maybe a podcast is right for you in that respect. What if I want to have a better vocabulary? Well, the more you talk, the better your vocabulary gets. The more you read, the more you learn about stuff, the better that your vocabulary gets. What if I'm not used to, I kind of feel shy about talking in front of groups of people? Well, what a better way to start than talking in front of a camera first, and then when you go out to where there are groups of people, oh, I've talked to thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people online, this is going to be a little bit easier. There, like I said, if you type the word document in there, you will get the 31 reasons that you might want to start a podcast. And that's what we're going to talk about today, and just kind of get you acclimated to what it is. And so, why I talked about a little bit why I started podcasts. I was a teacher. I started out as a physical education teacher, and then moved to a computer teacher. And and I have this, I believe, gift of being able to teach. Well, then I moved in. Moved into financial services, and I had a business that ran really well, and was doing great. And I was speaking in front of crowds and speaking in front of groups, and I was on stage. And then 2008 hit. And then when 2008 hit, it was insane. It was crazy because, I lost my pretty much most of my business, my ability. I was the mortgage business I had. We couldn't do loans. It was just ugly. And then I'm like, okay. And I remember even starting a podcast during that time, where I was doing some kind of detox because I didn't feel really good. And it wasn't a podcast. It was just posting on YouTube, probably back in 2008 or 2009. And I was sitting, in my car, and I'm drinking this syrupy, dark syrup detox mist, and I was trying to get everybody doing. And then you know what happened? I started putting all these videos up, and I think people started watching it. But then I was also putting videos up of things that I probably shouldn't have. Like I was putting, clips of. I used to do these events where I would show short clips of movies that related to whatever we were talking to. So if we were talking about money, I had a clip of like Bill Cosby, in the Bill Cosby show, where he was talking to his son Theo about money. And he was using Monopoly money and taking it away and taking it back. And that was a great clip. I used a clip from Braveheart. I used a clip from, Pearl Harbor. And I use those in my events. And all of a sudden, I just posted those up on my YouTube channel. And YouTube said, well, no, you're in violation. And all of a sudden, my YouTube channel was gone. All those videos. I probably had 200 videos that were up there, all gone, couldn't access, couldn't get to, boom. What a failure, right? I had to start all over. And so I got out of that. I left California. I came into Colorado, back to Colorado where I grew up. And I started working in homeless services, and I started serving people, and was thinking, well, how can I still affect people in a way that makes a big difference? And that's kind of why. And so in 2020, I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to get back into mortgages. I'm going to leave the nonprofit sector for several reasons. One is just wanting to be able to support my family and retire and do all the things that I've always wanted to do. And I said, well, okay, let me get into this mortgage thing again. And so I dropped back into mortgages. and I wasn't getting a lot of clients. And I was like, well, how do I get these leads? And I went through this coaching program where they told me I had to call up real estate agents and talk to real estate agents, and then I would meet them for coffee. And then when I met them for coffee, that I would as I would meet them for coffee, then I would create that relationship that I truly wanted, and then they would want to give me their business. And so I got this list. I paid for this list. It had 1,000 names on it, and I would call up cold calling, cold calling, cold calling. It wasn't working. I would call 50 people, 5 would answer, because we're in an age now where people don't answer the phone. I don't answer my phone. I get, I don't know, 20 to 30 different, calls every single day. Some telemarketer trying to sell me something. I don't even answer it. So why would real estate agents almost have to? Because they don't know if you're going to buy a home. But as soon as you do, and you answer, you say, hey, I'm Brian. I would love to meet with you. I want to find out what you're doing. I hear you're doing some amazing work here in the real estate agent. And then they were like, well, I'm not interested right now. Click. And then they would just hang up on me. And I'm like, okay. And then out of the 5 that I actually got a hold of, 2 up on me. One would, then say, I'm not interested. Maybe one would meet me for coffee. Then I drive all the way across town to meet for coffee, and then they wouldn't show up. Said something came up. I just drove, a half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour to get to a place, and they didn't even show up. And the ones that did would tell me, well, and this is just, something that I know that they're taught to tell people, but it really was irritating to me because I know that those were taught, and I know it wasn't real. Well, my company requires me to give everybody that I work with 3 different lenders. And so I have 3 different lenders that I work with. And so maybe I can rotate you into one of the 3 that I give my clients, which is not true. But because if they love you and they want you, they're going to tell that person that you exist. And that's exactly what's going to happen. They don't have to give 3. But anyway, so that's what I was doing. And so out of every 50 calls that I was making in my list, I wasn't doing well. And then somebody, came across and said, why don't you try doing a podcast? I'm like, a podcast? I don't want to do a podcast. That's like, I know I had a radio show before, and I was thinking of all the things that went into producing a radio show and going, and I had to drive. I was in LA at the time and had to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get to the show. I had a producer, I'd have commercials. My show got cut. I mean, it was like, how many people are listening? It was just insane, all the work that took. So I said, but if it's going to help me get leads, maybe I should try it. And what I realized is I started calling those 50 numbers. And when I called those 50 numbers, 50 numbers that day, out of the same 5 to 6 answered the phone, but out of that 5 to 6, and I said, hey, I'm launching a podcast called the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight Podcast. I'm spotlighting local real estate agents here in the area. I would love to, and I heard that you're doing an amazing job as a real estate agent. I see last year you did 9 transactions. Is that correct? And they would say, oh, no, I actually did 11. I said, oh, man, that's even better. I know you have a secret, and I'd love for you to tell me your secret, but how about we film that? We get that on film, and now you can put that on your website, and everybody can know your secret. And now all of a sudden, instead of getting one person that I could try to go drive a coffee that wasn't there, I would have 5 out of 6 people that would say, I can't wait to be on your podcast. When is it? I'm filming Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1:30 or 3:30, which is better for you. And they would give me their time. And then at 1:25, they're showing up on the podcast. Why? Because they want to share their information. They want to be on camera. They want to be in the limelight. They want to. And all I have to do is ask 4 questions, is what I asked in a 20-minute podcast. I didn't have to know a lot of questions. It was the same questions for each person. What makes you a great real estate agent? What makes you do some great stuff in the area? What do you think about the market? I mean, those questions were done. And within 6 months, I had 75 episodes that I was now produced that are out there that giving to. I didn't care if I had any subscribers. What do I need subscribers for? They're wanting to be on my podcast because at that time, I wanted them to share business with me. I wanted them to be the person. And I had a 12-week follow-up. So they did the podcast. And week 1, I would send them week 1, I would, send them their podcast and, ask them if they need any help. I had the ability right away to monetize. I can help you make some clips if you want to, and I can have my guy make you some clips. By week 6, I had this really cool t-shirt here. I'm thinking, let me, I don't know if you can see it or you can see me, but there's a t-shirt that I'm hoping you can see it, but it just says Mile High Real Estate Spotlight Podcast. It has a barcode or a QR code on the back of it, which just says if somebody scans that, it goes straight to their episode. And I said, hey, you were an amazing guest on the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight Podcast. Can't wait to do. And so now it went from a coffee appointment that nobody really wanted to do business with me to an enterprise that people couldn't wait to get onto my podcast so that they could then go. And we'll show you through a process exactly what the emails look like and like the question, what the follow-up is. But it all became part of a system that allowed me to generate leads when nobody else was getting leads, when real estate agents were giving out leads. It was so cool. I did right before I even had the Mile High Real Estate. I had the Black Wealth Experience, and I was working with folks in an organization that I was part of called NARAB that allowed me to interview a whole bunch of folks. In this case, it was folks of color that were doing stuff in the community, and I would tell them stories about how it was helping other people in the community. And now that became a source of leads. So now when we talk about monetizing the podcast, people say, well, the number one way is to get YouTube or Instagram or the platforms to pay you. I was getting paid from my lending institution because I did a podcast. I was getting paid from the real estate agents that needed me to set up something in their room or help them set up or get going for a podcast. I was getting paid to coach folks that were doing stuff. That's how I was beginning to monetize my podcast, which had nothing to do with YouTube monetization, had nothing to do with how many people are watching it, had nothing to do with those things. Now, those things are helpful and they're good and they're things that I do now, but it wasn't part of me trying to get going in a podcast. There was a problem that needed to be solved. In my case, it was my problem that needed to be solved. I needed more leads. In the real estate agent's case, it was I need to be able to expose myself to more people so that I can get more business in. And so together we solved the problem together that we both had. And the podcast was the medium that allowed me to solve that problem. What a great thought. And that's why I believe that everybody should have a podcast. Everybody who is working through this process should be having a podcast. And so that was the why. I just needed a better way to connect to leads. And so when I think of people, 5 reasons why people are stuck not getting it is you are just, in this case, let's just talk about leads for a minute. If you are trying to get leads and you're not getting leads, or you're trying to get people to do business with you and they're not coming, why? Well, one of them might be that you don't have the budget necessary to attract the type of clients that you're looking for. Let's say that, I own a small coffee shop and I don't have an I'm not making enough in my small coffee shop to be able to create a budget that advertises that tells new customers that this coffee shop exists. How am I going to get them in? Am I just going to go on social media? Now, I have some ways that I could show you and teach you how to do some videos that you could do that would be out in the community that would let them know that you're there. But if you don't know how to do that, but what if you were on a podcast and you started interviewing other local business owners that are maybe even the same complex as you or around town, and you interview them, and basically they put your video that you did with them to their audience. Now, all of a sudden, their audience knows that you have a coffee shop. Their audience also knows if they're, let's say it's a cleaners that they go to and they trust their cleaner and they love the person who's the cleaner that's cleaning their clothes because they do such a good job at every time. But that cleaners has a following and they put that out to their following. Now you just have gotten instant credibility and trust because you have now connected yourself with the cleaners and now they know your coffee shop exists. So whatever it is you're doing, sometimes we say financial advisors and real estate agents and attorneys and that kind of stuff are the best people for this. But I would say whatever walk of life, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to get people to watch what you're doing. But if you don't have the budget, that might be why, because you don't have the money to spend it and you're not going to get the budget. It's like that catch-22 until I make more sales. I don't have an advertising budget, but I don't have an advertising budget until I make more sales, and you just go around in the circle. So that's one. Well, the other reason is, especially when you think about cold calling and you hate talking, and some of you are introverts and say, I have no desire whatsoever to talk at all. Oh my gosh, that could, my friend, drive you crazy, insane, because you're saying right now, I really don't feel like talking at all. And I don't blame you for those of you who don't like talking. And so, what about if you just like asking questions? What if it is all you do is ask questions and then you let somebody else talk? You don't have to be a person who has to come up here and do, a half hour, 20-minute monologue about what you think about. You just have to be interested in what the person that you're asking questions is doing to be able to do it. But the reason you're stuck is because you put down the phone every time. You find excuses as to why you're not going to pick up that phone and talk to people. And it's not your fault because you just don't like talking. So why would you continue to do it? And some of us just have to force ourselves to be able to do it in order to do something that worked 20 years ago that doesn't work today. Does anybody remember the people used to go door to door all the time? How many people come to your house door to door anymore? Very few, but that was the way that people interacted before the internet. Remember, wherever you went, somebody was talking to you about something. Whether you were sitting at a kid's game or you were at the gym, somebody wanted to strike up a conversation, or at church or wherever you were at. How much of that stuff is still happening today where you get to do that? And so, the second one is you're not talking. Hey, 4 is fear of rejection. So what if I do have something and people keep saying no, 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 no. And I used to be told that, hey, you need to accept the amount of no's. You got to get used to no. No needs to be your favorite word. That's what I was told when I got into sales back in when I was like in the Amway days, back in the multi-level marketing days. And, hey, you just got to go through the no's and then you're going to get some yeses. Well, how many no's do I have to go through? Because every single one of them hurts. So it's like 1,000 cuts, right? It's like when I started making those cold calls, and those cold calls that I was making every time, cut, 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 cut. I just made 50 calls. Nobody wants to answer. Now, it was even kind of cool about that when I started doing the podcasting. I said only 5 answered, but I left voicemails for the other 45 that didn't answer that day. And then most of those guys would call me back and ask me what the Mile High Spotlight podcast was all about. How many people, when I asked, hey, let's like to get together with you, call you back, see if we can get together for coffee, how many callbacks you think I got on those? 0. I got 0 callbacks on those. Unless it was a fluke, I would get, hey, you called my number. I didn't hear the message. I was just calling you back because I needed to know if you were looking for a house. Oh, by the way, my name is Brian, and I'm looking to meet with some of the local real estate agents and see, what you guys are doing to be so successful. You're successful. Let's sit down with coffee. Oh, sorry, I got to go right now. I got another call coming in. Happened all the time. Hey, would you like to be on the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight podcast? Spotlights and agents that are doing well like you. I see that you've done 14 transactions this month. Please tell me what you're doing to be successful. Can we put that on a podcast? I don't want you to tell me right now. I'd love to have you on my podcast. I film on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1:30 to 2:30, and then on Thursdays, 1:30 and 3:30 are the 2 times. Which one would you like prefer? Boom, I would like to be out 2:30 next Thursday. Great. Oh my gosh, you'd be amazed at how quick that stuff started snapping when people want what you have. Instead of looking for people who don't want what you have, how about look for people who want what you have? And what you have is a podcast. All right, so fear of rejection goes away when you're not being rejected all the time. The next one is, hey, I don't know how to use the internet. How many times have you heard somebody say, I'm terrible at technology? Oh gosh. If I hear that anymore, I'm telling you, can you use your cell phone? Because I see you talking on it right now. I see you taking pictures of your grandkids. I see you taking pictures of your kids. I see you taking videos of all kinds of things. I see you scrolling up and down, round and about on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. I see you doing it on your phone all the time. Most people, if you're not doing that stuff, then you still have a flip phone. So if you know how to use your phone, if you know how to take this device, you know how to flip it over. This one happens to have 3 cameras on the back of it. I also has a camera on the front of it. Either I can use a ring light and face it this way, I can read it this way, and now all of a sudden I have the ability to do a podcast with good audio, good video, and good quality. Especially if I'm connected to the internet. So the need for this burden of I got to know everything about technology, I'll be able to show you how to do that, whether it's StreamYard or Riverside or some of the editing softwares, CapCut or Captions. There's all these little simple things. And if you don't want to do it, I have a system where you can hire somebody for very inexpensive, $4, $5, $6 an hour to be able to do some of those videos for you. So let's say you did 5 videos this month, and each of them cost you they did all the action and it cost you $15 a video to do, and you did 5 of them. So you paid $75 that this month to be able to have this amazing show where you recorded and people are on there. What a low overhead for the reward that it can bring you that you can now share with people. And so the internet and the technology doesn't need to be a burden. It's something that's easy to do. And then the last part is just lack of knowledge. You don't know how to do a podcast. And that's why I'm here as the podcasting coach, is because I want to help you be able to start, be successful. Like, you don't know what equipment to buy, or you look through these bundles, or you may not even know what lighting that you should have. Which I have this acronym called AVs, which means audio is the most important thing, and so your microphone has to be really good. Then we jump into the lighting. Lighting is the next thing. All of these, right? AL. V is now video. Video is the third most important thing in this, and then as we think of what does your equipment look like, or your setup look like, or your environment look like, that's what the E goes for. And then finally, we'll talk about the software that you need to use it. Hey, if you're on this Zoom call right now, or if you're on a live with Facebook Internet, or I'm sorry, Instagram, or Facebook or YouTube, if you know how to get onto those, you know what software that you need, because those are the three platforms that you need. We'll show you how to do some other software that interacts with it, and boom, my friend, you are off to the races. So, those are the 5 reasons why you might be stuck. This is why a podcast can help you become unstuck. And then let's kind of talk about some of the core secrets. I have 3 tips that I'll give you today. Some of the things that you may have thought were myths about the podcasting industry that are not myths anymore, and that you don't have to worry about. The first one is I need to have a huge audience. I think I already dispelled that, as all the different ways. If you got 21 different ways to make money, only one of them is how big your audience is. Now, the bigger your audience, the more people that you have exposure to, and more people you have exposure to, the better chance of you making money are. But you don't need that in order to make money. I've had people who have audiences of less than 500 that are making multiple 6 figures a year, because those niche of those 500 subscribers that they have, and what they're watching and what they're giving. How many for me to talk to the real estate agents? So let's say I'm talking to real estate agents and I'm getting 3 loans a month out of the folks that I'm working with, right? I got a calculator right here. So I get 3 loans a month, and let's say the average that I make per loan is $4,000. So that is $12,000 that I made each month. 12,000. I'm just want to do it on calculator. Obviously, I can do this math in my head, even though I failed math at one point in my life. I think the last math class I had was geometry in 10th grade. So, but I can do 3 times 4, which is 12. So that's 12,000 times 12. And what's 12 times 12? We all know it's 100. So that's 100. So this is 12,000 times 12 months equals 100. And 12 times 12, $144,000 a year. And how many subscribers do I need to have to do that? I don't have to have any, because the real estate agents are the ones who are taking the podcast and putting it on their site. Now, it'd be nice if I have some, and there's people that they can say, oh yeah, I'm getting it on my site as well. And that'll organically happen. But it's not required on the audience that you have. So your audience message and unique story are just an idea that you need, and we'll show you how to grow that audience and make stuff happen there. The next thing is technical simplicity wins. I already talked about that a little bit, right? Let's not make this hard. Use this for your first 10 episodes. Let's get good at it. Man, here's a statistic. 85% of people podcasting, 85% of people podcasting have never hit 10 episodes. 85% have never hit 10 episodes. And I want to ask you with that statistic, what is it that you're really good at in life? What have you decided that you're incredible at in life that you got good at in 10 tries? You ever tried to play tennis? Hit 10 tennis balls and then you're good at tennis? You can go play at Wimbledon. Can you even play in the park? Hey, let's say that you're a seamstress and you sew hem on a pants. You sew 10 different seams on 10 different pairs of pants. Are you good at hems yet? Let's say you cook. You learn how to cook chicken, and you cook chicken only 10 times. Is your chicken really good yet? It doesn't matter what you do, it's going to take more 10 times. So why would you think that after 10 episodes or less than 10 episodes that you ever do it. 95% of them, of people that have ever done a podcast, have not done more than 3 episodes. 3 episodes. How did you know if you were good at it or not? Or you could be good at it, because in the first 10 episodes, you're not going to be very good. Well, I didn't have any subscribers. Nobody was watching it. Why? Because you sucked. And quite frankly, I don't want anybody having a podcast that has 100,000 people. That's, right now on my social media, about all the videos that I put out, I'm hitting about 100,000 views every single month. And imagine if I get 100,000 people that are watching the content that I have and it's not good. What does that mean for my character and my integrity and my value system? When I'm bad at it, I want like 3 people. I want my mom, I want my dad, maybe my sister are the 3 people that I want watching it when I'm bad. And then maybe my neighbor, my wife, my kids. But until I get good at it, and it's going to take more than doing it 10 times, that's when I can begin to start doing stuff online that really makes sense. So, the technology, just keep it simple. Use your phone. You can take a lamp, put a sheet over it, put it in a room, one big light. You are in business. Don't leave the lamp out but we'll talk about that later. But this is so simple. You already have in your possession what you need to do a podcast. I think I heard a statistic out of the top 10 podcasts, 7 of them use expensive equipment to do their podcasts. 3 of them are still using the cheap stuff. Haven't even left. Out of the top 10 podcasts in the world, 3 of them are still not using super expensive equipment. Should tell you something right there. And the last time is we want you to monetize right away. So like I have a program in 7 days, you should make your first dollar. Now there's a whole lot of, I guess, controversy of what it means to monetize. In my mind, monetization is making money from something you did. Pretty easy. That's as simple as it can get, right? I did something, somebody paid me, and that's now monetizing. Is there do I have to do a lot? Is there well, I have to do 1,000 things before I make it? If you make $1 of something you did, you, my friend, have been monetized. And so you don't have to have millions of views to be monetized. I can show you in 7 days how to get your first dollar using a platform called a Podmatch. After doing, maybe even just one, you can do one podcast, your very first podcast, and still get paid at least $1 on that. What? I know, crazy, I'm telling you. All right, so here's where you're at now. You're one of 3 people right now. You are never done this, never done a podcast before. Boom. All right. So you're just at the beginning. We got a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. Or you are tired, or you tried it, not tired. You've tried it. You're unsure. You only maybe got to that 8 to 10 podcast. It wasn't really good. You weren't sure what you were doing. Didn't know if it was for you. Didn't know about the other 31 ways to make you feel I'm never going to make money on YouTube, so I might as well give up right now. That might be you. Or you're experienced, and now you're just looking for, hey, what is the fastest way to make this happen for me? Because I don't have a lot of time. I still have my full-time job. I can only do 1 podcast a week, but I would like for my content in that podcast to be really good and to make a lot of sense and to work out really well. If you're one of those 3 people, I'd love you to type in the chat 1, 2, or 3. Let me know who you are. Doom, doom, doom. Put it in there. That way I kind of know who the audience that we're talking to today and what that is. If you're on one of the social media streams, I guess in the comments or whatever that you can add to it. It's not called a chat, I guess, in the social media stream. See, I don't even know enough about the other media streams to know, but I know that I can get a podcast out of them. I can get clips out of them. I know the things that I need to know in order to make this thing happen. So whatever you are, it doesn't matter. There's a way that podcasting can be huge for you. This kind of give you three people that I've worked with that are doing super well. One is Martiana. Martiana happens to be my daughter. She is an entrepreneur at heart. She is like her dad. She is, I guess, molded from the same mold, of us wanting to get stuff done and do stuff. And so what's kind of cool is, she got into the mortgage when I decided to go back into mortgages. And I had her doing the same thing, making those cold calls to those people. It wasn't working for her. Then I jumped into podcasts, had her do that. Oh my gosh, we're talking about monetizing and a way to monetizing this. So she started doing she lived in Northern California. So I think she called it the Golden State podcast. And when she did it, Um, she started meeting with people that wanted to be on her podcast. She started recording shows. Well, she also does staging. So she stages homes for real estate agents so that the home sells at a higher price and looks better. And she's very, very talented at doing the staging. Well, from doing the pod, she was talking to these real estate agents, telling them that she could help them with the loan. Then told them that she has a staging business. The real estate says, "Well, I got my lenders, but I need somebody who can stage. Can you do something this week?" To this day, I think, just in the last year, she's got over 10 new contracts from real estate agents and a real estate agency that uses her for all their staging. And she's running all over the Bay Area, making sure houses are staged properly and making over six figures just from staging. A podcast did that for her. I'll say it again. A podcast did that for her. What are you guys waiting for? All right. The other person, I had a friend named Travis. He wanted to get online. He wanted to do the reels, and he loves online. He's a younger guy, loves scrolling, loves doing all that stuff. We decided to do a podcast first. He did the podcast, started scrolling. Now he has clips everywhere. He's even using, have you guys seen all these clips now with the little babies that are talking or the puppets that are talking? He does a podcast with a puppet. And people are watching it and people are loving it. And he's having the time of his life and just having fun. And it's not even a puppet that you hold in your hand like the Muppets. It's actually an AI puppet. Oh man, I'm not even going to talk about AI today, but if you get into the challenge, I'll spend at least an hour just talking about the things that AI can help you do to make your podcast work. Oh man, I'll even give you a whole bunch of prompts. I have a list of all these prompts that you can use that can 10x your business just by using these prompts and getting people to come watch your podcast and do stuff. Unbelievable stuff that we can start working on. I had a friend named Kim who decided, hey, we're working with just a traditional podcast, just working on herself. She tells me that she sounds better. She believes in herself more. She likes the way that she talks. She's got a very interesting podcast that people are watching. And she's just doing it because she loves doing it. But now she's thinking about, wait, maybe I can sell some merchandise on it. Maybe I can create an affiliate. Like, wait till I tell you about the affiliate links and the affiliate process. Oh my gosh. Woo. So it's all part of the becoming the person you want to be universe that we're putting together. I have a community here coming up that I'm going to want you to be part of. So all of these things can help you to have this podcast that is going to revolutionize and change your life. All right, Sid, I was getting ready. So what basically I told you that there's going to be at the beginning of what we were talking about. I told you that there is going to be on June 23rd. The ways that I'm looking over here is because I want to make sure I got the date right, and I'm looking at my calendar. But on June 23rd, I'm going to start a 5-day challenge. And that 5-day challenge is 1 hour a day. It's from 9:30 to 10:30 Denver time. So if you're in California, it's 8:30. If you are in Texas, it's 9:30. And if you are somewhere on the East Coast where most of the people in this country live, it will be right at 11:30, right before that noon hour happens. So 2 ways to get involved. The first way to get involved is what we call just a regular general admission. And then the second way is a VIP. Day one, I'm going to be talking about the big shift and just some of the stuff I talked about today. Why the podcast? Day two, I'm going to be talking about building a blueprint for your podcast. We're going to talk about what do you need? What do you need to have in it? That kind of stuff. Day three is all about the equipment that you need, how much you should spend on equipment, what your environment should look like, all those wonderful things that are part of there. Day four, we're going to talk about creating traffic. What does that mean? How do I get people to my website? What is my website about? Or not website, my podcast all about? And then 5, we're going to talk about monetizing this microphone thing so that you make money on it every single time you talk. Every single time you talk. And so this podcast challenge, if you go to thepodcastchallenge.com, you go to the Podcasters Academy.com or thepodcastchallenge.com are the 2 ways that you can get there. The podcastchallenge.com is the easiest one that I can remember right now to get to it. You can sign up. There's 2 ways. The general admission is $67. That $67 is going to get you through the whole week of everything what you don't get that you get at the VIP is you don't get to ask questions. Unless there's a few of us, then I'll try to open up for questions. But you get to see you get the materials, you get all the what you need to do. You'll know exactly what to order, everything that you need to get your podcast up and running. But what the true value is in the VIP session. The VIP session is it's a 299 for the VIP session. The VIP session, man, you get to every single day at the end of it, you're going to be able to ask me questions. And when you ask me questions, I'm gonna specifically answer the questions that are for you. I'm also going to give you exclusive access to looking at your podcast. I'm going to evaluate your actual podcast and see what give you feedback and say, okay, we just started this podcast. So that's not going to happen. You're not going to have a podcast out by the challenge. I'm going to come back. You're going to send it to me, and we're going to go through evaluation. We're going to look exactly who it is. That in itself is a huge value. We're going to talk about some things, in the VIP time when we're going through questions. Hopefully, it's a group question so you can bounce off. Maybe you're that person who is kind of, hey, I really don't like to talk, but I need these answers. Well, the chances are that somebody else is in the challenge is going to ask that same question, and then you're going to be able to answer. Now, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to allow the people that are in the general admissions to watch the VIP session, so they'll get some of that content, but they just won't be able to have the open mic to be able to listen to. So that want to go from it'll go from 9:30 to 10:30, and then from or 8:30 to 9:30 to 10:30 Mountain Time. That's where I live. Then we'll take a 15-minute break, and then we'll go from 10:45 to 11:45, and we will knock that out for 5 straight days. Oh, there's going to be homework. You're going to have some homework. You're going to want to get the homework done because you are going to be on your way to doing a podcast. And so I hope today really helped you be able to see exactly why a podcast might be important to you, be able to see why you might not fit into it. I hope it made you a little bit more curious about this thing called podcasting. It made you a little bit more curious about maybe this is something that I should explore a little bit more. The other thing that the VIPs get is when we record them all, you will have unlimited access to those for life, to those recordings. So if they say, hey, it's not, hey, man, I'm just got so many things going on. I got to get rid of something at the end of the summer, and then I'm ready to podcast. Perfect. Now I'm going to talk to you about procrastination. But then you'll be able to move forward with that and be able to go back, watch all of those videos that are there. All right, so I'm Dr. B. Thank you for being part of this today. I apologize for if you got on early and there was no sound and I was just talking away. That kind of doesn't make any sense, does it? That I would continue to talk away at that, in that manner. But what's kind of cool is that you were able to now be able to, I was trying to turn my camera on. I don't know if I can do that.